Oh my gosh, I just noticed how bad my nails look. Don't comment, I already know. Hi there, it is time to update you on the progress for my fish quilt, is what I've been calling it. I don't know what its final name will be, but if you remember a few months ago I posted like a little fish block tutorial, and that tutorial came actually, the idea came from this book by Nicholas Ball, Inspiring Improv. And so, oh here, I turned right to it. I started making fish blocks, and here was my little idea. I don't know if you can see this, but I was gonna do fish, the bottom part of the quilt, and then like a beach, and then I was gonna do like tents and mountains at the top, and then like a sunset. And I'm still sort of going with an idea like this, but I wanted to continue the curved piecing up to the top half too. So I'm going to try to do trees, and I haven't tried one yet, so we're gonna figure that out together. But I did make like an ocean bed. I'll show you what I have so far. And then I'm going to work on like the beach today. But I wanted to show you more curved piecing because I'm having so much fun with it. Curved piecing is one of the things I avoided forever. And I think it was because I tried that one quilt, the Denise Schmidt quilt, and I made one block and it took so long that I quit. And so the kind of curved piecing that you have to do with templates and precise sewing is probably not really for me. But then I tried some curved piecing, like the quarter circles for my house quilt for the border, and that was way more up my alley because it can just be trimmed how you want it. You can cut willy-nilly. And it's actually, the sewing part is super easy. I'll show you some more of that today if you're confused about the logistics, like square, peg, round hole type of situation that you might feel like two curved pieces are creating for you. So today I'm going to create, above the fish, I'm going to create like the beach part. And then I'm going to try to make a tree or two, and we'll see how that looks. And so let's see, what else do I want to say before I get started? Oh, I am working on my next little book called Curvy Improv. And so if you're watching this video a few months down the road, I'm gonna go, if it's done, I'm gonna go ahead and put the link down there for you so you can find it. But if you're watching this like today when I post it, stay tuned for that. And I will post it soon. I'm learning so much, and I feel like once I understood curved piecing and how to cut them and how to sew them, the world is my oyster. I can sew all kinds of different curves now. So, and then if you are new to improv quilting or you want more improv quilting, you can still go get my improv houses and my Make It Wonky books. And I really appreciate everyone who's bought these so far. They have sold way better than I expected, so I appreciate that. And so let's see, I'm Nikki, this is Pen Cut Sew. Let me show you where I am so far on my fish quilt. Okay, here's what I have. I sewed lots of fish. Some blocks have 2 fish. They are all rectangular blocks. And I then sewed like an ocean floor type of thing. I just took 2 brownish, orangish, pinkish fabrics and curve pieced them into rectangle blocks also. So I'm going to do something similar to divide the sea from the trees. But I really love it so far. Oh, here's a sneak peek of something coming down the pipe. That's so cute, wonky pumpkin. Okay, but back to the fish. Okay, so what I want to do is sort of segue from the tops of the fish from dark blues to more light blues for like, you know, the foamy part of the ocean. And then segue from that into like a sandy beach. So I'm going to make more of those curvy bricks. I found this fabric. One of you all on Instagram told me about this site called Fabric Pop, and I got some of the cutest prints. I don't know, like at the time they did fit my vision, but I don't know now if they do. So we'll see, but look how cute. I got a lot of them from there, and I have used the others that I got for sure. But we'll see. I do, however, really like this, the swimming ladies, and I think they will fit right in. So let me show you how I've been making the curved brick pieces. Okay, so I've been making these bricks, at least the ocean floor ones, I made 5 3/4. But for the piecing part, you don't need to be precise. Let me go ahead and cut this selvage off. And this is just a basic curved piecing tutorial. So I'm going to, and they were all different widths too. So I'm just going to chop off a piece of this and then chop it off here too. And then I'm going to cut another piece, a similarly sized piece of one of my lighter blue fabrics. So let me make them about the same size. Okay, I have this Caterpillar glow board here. This is useful for this. I have talked about the mini one of these that I have that I bought, and then Caterpillar saw that video and asked if they could send me this glow premium board, and I really, really like it. I like it because it is quite a bit bigger than my other one, but mostly because I don't have to keep it plugged in. It just charges. And so this is why it's useful, because when you're gonna sew a curved line, you need to cut the same line into both these pieces. So you have them both face up, and then you need to overlap them. I have them overlapped a couple of inches, and then you need to make sure that your cut is staying on the overlapped part. So I'm just going to make a random curved cut like so. You discard the little pieces, and then you flip this one over onto this one, and this is going to be your seam. So I'm going to put a link below to the Caterpillar Glow Premium because you can get a discount if you use the code PINCUTSEW. So make sure you use that discount. I have found it really, really nice to have. Okay, let's go take this over to the machine and I will show you how to sew it, because look, it looks like it doesn't fit, but it actually does, I promise. Okay, when you sew these pieces, you do not need to pin them or anything. Since they're the same width, you just start here at the beginning. We're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. I like to lower my stitch length a little bit like you would with normal piecing. You're going to start sewing. Then when you get to a spot where the pieces are not quite matching up, I'm going to hold the bottom piece with my right hand, and the top piece I'm going to pinch in my left hand. And I'm going to curve the top piece to match the bottom piece. I'm going to lay it down. Because it's cut on the curve, it's cut on the bias, so it turns very easily. The more gentle your curve, the easier it's going to be to sew on. So right here, I could have a potential tuck. So you're going to keep the tucks out of the way of the needle. Keep curving. You're not aiming for perfection, like perfectly matched anything. Okay, and then the outer curve to end. Okay, I did it. Next step is to iron it into submission. I'm going to iron my seam towards the darker fabric. Okay, and here's my first piece ready to be trimmed down. Oh my gosh, I just noticed how bad my nails look. Don't comment, I already know. Okay, so I'm just going to trim this piece down to 5 3/4. Then I'll make sure the short edges are straight. And I can go see how this looks on my quilt. All right, I like it. I'm gonna make a bunch more for the rest of the top. Okay, think through this with me. I really want to put this swimming dog in there, but I also don't, like, all the colors I'm using are so saturated, almost like jewel toned. And I also don't want the eye to go directly to the dogs if I put a big piece of it in there. So I'm going to try to put like a sliver in there with just one dog. So let's see, how do I do that? Okay, this is the dog I want. I know this seems wasteful. It's okay. It'll get used for something else. All right, I want this dog in there. I don't want other dogs. So if I cut this and sew it in, let's try that. And then I'll put another fabric on top. Okay, so then this is the light blue fabric I want on top of that. So I need to cut around the dog again. And cut this to size. I'm going to cut it like this. And then I'll go this on. I did it! Very nice. All right, let me see. I figured out 5 3/4 was too big, so I'm making them 5, which is the width of my ruler, so that's convenient. Oh man, I made the waves upside down. Right? Oh well, I'm not gonna worry about it. Don't tell Natalie. She's the reason why one fish with this fabric is swimming the opposite direction, because she said it's better to have a quirky fish in there than upside down waves. So, but they're gonna be upside down in this spot, so don't tell her. Look how cute. All right, now I kind of want to make more with layers like that. Maybe for the sunset at the very top of the quilt, I'll do more layers. It's pretty cool looking. Okay, I have my whole row of the top of the ocean, sea, lake, whatever. I have some surfer girls in here. I have some seagulls and some swimming dogs. One swimming dog and my undersea ladies. So I like to sew these strips on as I go. I think it keeps me motivated to keep going when the quilt is coming together in real time, rather than having to go back and put all these blocks together. And also it's just sort of the spirit of improv quilting, you know, to just build it as you go. So I'm gonna put this on and then I'm gonna make the beach. Stuck. Okay, before I move on to the beach, I'm gonna do a quick cleanup. Okay, phew. All right, I don't know if you can see back here, but I do have, whenever I'm working on a quilt or a project like this, I tend to pull out things that will go, and so I can keep these sort of on hand and not have to dig through my drawer for everything. So when I first started this quilt, I made my first few fish out of these really saturated colors. I was very into jewel tones. I am very into jewel tones right now. And then I went to my fabric store because I definitely needed more blues. So here's my blues for the fish backgrounds, and I supplemented with things from my quilt shop, and then I ordered from, like I said, Fabric Pop that one of you told me about. And then I also placed a Fat Quarter Shop order last week, I think, because I really just needed more. And I especially like these Ruby Star Society prints. I think they go really well. The colors are great. So yeah, I got these at various different places. I like to do this more than I like to just fabric stash build, because I bought these with a purpose in mind, and so they're not going to languish. And so this is what I prefer to do. And then I also I knew I needed browns for the beach, so I pulled out what I had in my drawer, and then I ordered a few more. And I also knew I was gonna need green tree fabric. So what I like to do is buy some that I like and then also supplement with what I already have. This helps my fabric stash not be out of control, and it helps make sure that I have things to work with that I really like, because when you spend this much time on a quilt, there's no sense putting fabrics in there that you don't like that much. Okay, so now I'm going to make the beach. And for this, I have all of these browns that I also used for the ocean floor, with some pinks and oranges in there. That one does not go. So I think I will do this part next. I'm trying to decide if I want to be like random or if I want to do lights and darks. No, random it is. Here I go. Okay, one more note about fabrics for curves. Improv curves take more fabric than you would think. So I think this probably started out as a scrap friendly project, but I quickly realized I wasn't gonna have enough blues, especially the fish. Mostly I did have plenty of fabrics for, but just know going in that if you're gonna make an improv curve quilt, it kind of takes more than you might think. So of course I'm keeping the scraps that I cut off, even though they're curvy. Hopefully I'll be able to use them for something. So I don't consider it a waste because I do use the scraps for lots of other things. So going in though, keep in mind you might need a little bit more fabric than you already have on hand. Okay, I'm at a stopping place. And the next thing to do is make the trees. Basically, they're going to be the same shape as the fish, but turned this way with trunks instead of tails. And of course, like a flat base. So, I wanted to tell you, if you want to make a quilt similar to this, you saw how they're just rectangular blocks and they're put together in rows. It looks more random than it really is because all of the rows are a uniform size. They're between 5 and 6 inches. And then I added in pieces occasionally, partly because some of my blocks ended up the wrong size, so I added in, and then partly because I just liked how it looked in there. I thought it looked less like rows, and so just keep making rows of fish until it's the size of a big piece that you want. Mine's gonna be pretty big. I think it's gonna end up to be a large twin, which for me is bigger than I usually make. I usually make throw size, I guess twin. My house quilt was pretty big too. Okay, so let's get to the trees. Let's see how this goes. Okay, I have not actually done one of these yet, so we're gonna learn together. I'm going to make trees in multiple tree colors so that it's not too much green. And I think I'm still gonna use my blues for backgrounds. So here's some of the blues I have. And then here's some of the tree fabrics I got. Oh, I forgot I got this from Fabric Pop. And I have like still yellows, and you know, fall trees come in so many colors. So I'm definitely still gonna use a lot of these also. So similar to the fish actually. So that really kind of worked out. Okay, let's make my first tree out of these cute stars. Maybe I'll use this one for a background. I think I need to do some math because I realized, let me show you. I realized while I was thinking about this last night, it didn't really matter how big I made my strips here, but now I need them to fit. I'm gonna make vertical strips. I think, or should I make horizontal strips? Maybe I should still do them in horizontal strips, but make the blocks go vertically. Yes, that makes more sense. I'm a genius. Okay, yeah, now I have a plan. I'm glad I thought of that because I thought I was gonna have to do math trying to get my strips to be a similar width as the fish strips, but to fit this way on the quilt. And now I won't have to do that. I'm still gonna just keep making horizontal strips, but my brick shapes are gonna go vertically. So just like I did with my trees, my fish, I'm going to simply cut a tree shape. So, but this time I don't need 2 corners. I need the bottom of it to be more flat. So here's my first wonky tree. Let's see how this goes. So this time I will need my blocks to be the same vertical also. So, all right, let me just make a tree and then see how it goes. I'm just gonna cut off a piece of this, and then I'm going to place this on the straight edge down here, and I'm going to cut this part off to mimic my leaf. You can see that they're both face up. Now I'm gonna turn this over here, and I'm gonna go stitch this onto this curved edge. Starting here, curving it all around here. Okay, now I'm going to take another piece of this, not this one. This is why it takes so much more fabric than you think. Could have made this piece skinnier though. You can learn to conserve fabric, but right now I'm just trying to figure this out. Okay, so now I have my fabrics overlapped enough to where my cut is going to continue along the line of the tree, like so. And now I'm going to stitch this piece onto my tree piece like this. All right, cute. Now I need to make a trunk. So let me just I have this brown piece. Let me straighten this up first. And then make this smaller. You could even curve your trunks. That would be kind of cool. I'm gonna keep my first trunk simple though. It'll be skinnier than that because of my seam allowance, so it will look about like this. Darn cute. Okay, now I can use some of this piece to add strips to each side of my trunk. Okay, I'm not going to trim these yet. I'm going to go ahead and stitch my trunk to the center of my tree. I think it'll be really fun to play with more wonky tree and trunk shapes, but this one I'm just keeping kind of basic so I can get the hang of what I'm going to do. I do want my trunk centered in the tree the best I can. All right. All that's left is to square it up. I like to use this seam here to square things up because I know that that's a straight line. Let's see, I would love for these to be about the same size of bricks as my fish, which are anywhere from 5 to 6. So let's just go with 5.5 inches for this first row of trees. Although, no, wait, they don't have to be similar widths. They only have to be the same height. Okay, so I'm just gonna make them as wide as I can, then I can use that extra width to make sure that my rows fit. I can always trim them down when I sew them together. This is called making it up as I go. My favorite way to quilt. Okay, but they do all need to be the same height. So on some of them, I am going to probably need to add some fun extra strips on top or whatever, just like I did in the fish blocks. I think it adds interest. I could even do 2 small trees on a block, just like I did with the fish. And I'm just going to experiment that way so that I can make rows that are all ready to be sewn on, but it won't look so blocky, like just straight rows of trees. So I would want to make like a tree up here and a big tree, if that makes sense. So I'm not going to make them all on the same plane, I don't think. But anyway, for now, we've reached the end of this particular portion of my fish quilt. It's not just a fish quilt anymore. Maybe I'll call it the fish and forest quilt. But I hope you have enjoyed this part, and I will definitely be back when I'm ready to finish and I'll show you what I have. But I hope that this has encouraged you not to be afraid of curved piecing. I think people are only afraid of it till they try it. And so I hope that you're gonna try it, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye. You fixed my nails. You're welcome.